Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis hit third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Philadelphia Phillies in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup for the Phillies, right-hander Aaron Nola, and for the Padres, right-hander Joe Musgrove. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you here inside the loft at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 as the Padres begin this homestand and a 3-game series against Philadelphia. Here's what you'll hear in the next 50 minutes. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll also check in with Jesse Agler in just a few minutes. Plus, coming up a little bit later, we hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado back at third base today off the paternity list. We'll hear from Manny. We'll also hear from Jeremiah Estrada, the right-handed reliever added to the Padres roster earlier today. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside. Padres entered today with a record of 14-14. They split a 4-game series this week in Colorado, losing a really tough one yesterday. Meanwhile, the Phillies are 16-10. They split a 4-game series against the Reds, a 5-0 win in the series finale yesterday. Phillies are playing really well right now. They've won 11 of their last 15 games. Before we completely switch gears to this series against the Phils, let's take a quick look back at what happened yesterday in Colorado.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Let's start in the 7th inning. Padres led 6-4. Jurickson Profar had a big swing.
Swings at the first pitch, hits it in the air deep down the right field line. Goodman back to watch. It's going to go. A 2-run homer for Jurickson Profar. And a big pinwheel bat flip as he heads to first base. 8-4 San Diego in the 7th.
In the 8th inning, the Padres added on. Tyler Wade hit a leadoff single. Wade stole second. Eggy Rosario at the plate.
Back at home tomorrow night. 2-2 lined into right center field, a base hit. Wade is on his way to third. He is being waved home. Doyle's throw will go into second base. An RBI single for Eggy Rosario. And the Padres add on. It's 9-4.
So the Padres took that 9-4 lead into the bottom half of the 8th inning. Yuki Matsui on the mound. He gave up a 1-out double and then a walk. Wandy Peralta entered to face Hunter Goodman.
2-0 hit in the air to deep left field. Wade is going back. He will watch. It's going to go. This is a 3-run home run for Hunter Goodman. His first hit of the year. And don't look now. It's now a 9-7 game.
And Wandy Peralta was really struggling. Jacob Stalling singled, Ezekiel Tovar walked. There were runners on first and second for Brenton Doyle.
Here's the pitch. And a hard hit grounder up the middle, through into center field and a base hit. Stallings lumbering around third. He'll come in to score. It is a 1-run game here in the bottom of the 8th.
The tying run was all of a sudden on third base. A passed ball on Luis Campusano allowed that run to score. It was tied at 9. The next pitch from Peralta was a wild pitch to send the go-ahead run to third. He bounced back to strike out Ryan McMahon for the second out. The Padres then went to righty Stephen Kolek to face Elias Diaz.
2-0, the pitch. Diaz hammers it in the air down the left field line. That's a fair ball. That'll get it done. Doyle in to score. Diaz on his way to second, an RBI double, and Colorado does lead for the first time in a long time. It's 10-9.
Padres went down 1-2-3 in the top of the 9th inning. A stunning loss yesterday in Colorado as the Rockies score a grand total of 6 runs in the 8th inning. They go on to win it by a final score of 10-9. And now the Padres will try to shake off that loss here today as they begin this 3-game series against the Phillies. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, let's go inside the Padres radio booth.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
We go down the way here at Petco Park. We're joined by Jesse Agler as we get ready for today's series opener against the Phillies. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. The headline today for the Padres, Manny Machado is back, not just from the paternity list, but also he's playing third base for the first time in 2024. Highly anticipated season debut, if you will, at the hot corner. Jesse, what are you looking forward to about Manny back at third base here today?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Not one of those things that I think we can oversell. It's significant for a lot of reasons. One is it's just great having him back out there because he's one of the best third basemen in baseball history. So you start there, and then it opens up the DH spot, obviously, which allows you to kind of do some more creative things. Tonight, it'll be Graham Pauley getting an opportunity, maybe get himself going a little bit at the plate, not having to worry about going out defensively and just coming up to take 4 or preferably 5 at-bats here tonight. But, look, the one thing, and I'm sure you have and or will talk about this, Sam, but it's not going to be 100% right out of the chute for Manny.
Right.
I doubt he's going to be in there tomorrow at third base, and it might be a little bit of time before we see him play, an entire series defensively in the field, but that's okay. This is all part of coming back from the surgery for him, and I would imagine very quickly we are all going to be reminded by Manny just how good he is over there. There's going to be a play. I don't know if it's tonight. I don't know if it's going to be Sunday, but there's going to be some play where we go, oh, yeah, that's what we've been missing, because he can do things over there that most mere mortals cannot.
Yeah, it is so much fun to watch Manny Machado, what he does with the glove at third base. On the mound today for the Padres, right-hander Joe Musgrove. And Joe coming off a solid outing his last time out against the Blue Jays. 7 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits given up. Here tonight, Jesse, against what can be a very powerful Philly offense. What are you looking for from Joe?
Yeah, more of the same. How weird is it, by the way, that his last start was the last home game? Very strange week. Yeah, that was Sunday against Toronto. He was outstanding. The solo homers are fine. Got enough run support, and if you can get something like that out of Joe Musgrove here tonight, you'll feel good. And you're right, the Phillies are like powerful in theory right now. And you don't want to poke the bear, wake the sleeping giant, whatever the turn of phrase you prefer is. But they've really not hit, this year. The Padres across the board have better offensive numbers this season than the Phillies do. But you look up and down, and like 1 through 7 is kind of terrifying. Just by name and by reputation. So you can't take them lightly. Joe has handled a lot of these guys, though, really, really well. So you hope that continues here tonight. But, yeah, it's interesting as I kind of dove into the Phillies the last couple of days. We know who they are. There's a lot of big names, a lot of guys with really beefy resumes and impressive backs of the baseball cards, but they have just not gotten going yet. But they've gotten such tremendous starting pitching that it hasn't mattered win-loss-wise. They're doing what they need to do in the standings, even without, some of the big bats doing big things right now.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun to watch the Padres go up against this powerful Philly lineup. And also, we'll get more into it as our pregame coverage rolls along, but their starting pitching has been really, really good as of late. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies here tonight. One move the Padres made earlier today, Jesse, Jeremiah Estrada called up from AAA. He's somebody that I thought really impressed over the course of spring training, was sort of the odd man looking in on the outside when the final roster was made as the team went to Korea. But I thought somebody that really impressed. He carried that momentum to AAA at the start of the season. I'm pretty intrigued to see what Jeremiah Estrada can do here at the big league level again.
Yeah, I'm excited for him to get that opportunity. And like you, I was very impressed with what we saw all spring long. He was one of those guys that, under different circumstances, pitched well enough to end up on the roster. It's just that the Padres, had a lot of spots sewn up, and we've seen, that the bullpen has generally been a strength so far this year. So I'm looking forward to him, getting the opportunity to do it at the big league level. Also just kind of like a hilarious guy, so it's nice to have him around one of those personalities, I think, that makes a clubhouse better. Even if he is, limited in terms of his big league experience with the Padres, he's a pretty popular figure in there and a really good personality, but he throws the ball very hard. As you said, great job during spring training, and excited for him to get the opportunity here.
Yeah, it should be interesting to watch Jeremiah Estrada when he does get that opportunity. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. Should be a fun series against the Phillies, and a rematch, of course, of that 2022 NLCS, and a good pitching matchup here tonight between Joe Musgrove and Aaron Nola. Thanks so much, as always, for the time.
You got it, Sam.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show as we get ready for today's game here on the Padres Radio Network. Again, first pitch coming up at 6:40. We'll go out to Jesse and Tony at 6:30. Between now and first pitch, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt coming up in just a little while. We'll also hear from Manny Machado on becoming a dad for the first time and also getting back to third base, so a big day for Manny. We'll hear updates on the injuries to Jackson Merrill and Yu Darvish, and we'll also hear from new Padre right-hander Jeremiah Estrada. So we got a lot to get to on our pregame coverage as we walk you up towards first pitch in this series opener between the Padres and the Phillies. More coming up after this on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Hey, Frank, everything's you were able to get it okay? Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres get set to take on the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 1 of this three-game series over the weekend here in downtown San Diego. Should be a lot of fun as we watch this very talented Phillies team come to town. The Padres trying to bounce back after losing the series finale in Colorado yesterday. as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40. Let's hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Before we hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt, just a couple of notes here. Number one, Manny Machado, like we said, the headline of the day. Manny is back from the paternity list, but also he is back playing third base for the first time in 2024 in the hot corner, batting cleanup here tonight. So that is very, very exciting. Padres did make a couple of moves earlier today. The Padres reinstated Manny to the active roster. They also recalled right-hander Jeremiah Estrada from AAA El Paso. They optioned both infielder Matthew Batten and righty Randy Vasquez back to AAA El Paso. Jackson Merrill is not in the lineup tonight for the Padres. He was scratched late yesterday with right groin tightness. It was a precautionary scratch, not in the lineup here today. We will hear more from Mike Schilt on Jackson Merrill a little bit later during our injury report. We'll also get an update on Yu Darvish as well. So we're going to save that for a little bit later. But first, let's hear what Mike Schilt had to say about Manny Machado being back at third base and in the lineup today, Jeremiah Estrada being here, and much more.
Hey, Mike, after a tough end of the road trip, how good does it feel to get back here at Petco Park and be surrounded by Padre fans tonight?
It feels good to be home regardless of circumstance, you know. I mean, you get 5 on the road, I think we'd all take that. And it feels great to be home Friday night in San Diego. Doesn't get much better than that.
How great does it feel to have your third baseman back?
Ooh, it feels really good. Yeah, we're super happy about that. Knew it was coming, been working towards it for a while. Really happy for him on a lot of fronts. I mean, some big milestones that are now, welcome his new addition to the family, and now he's back at third base. So life is good for the Machados and for the Padres.
I know you mentioned that your timeline was hopeful to be by the end of the month. It's a little bit sooner than that, and it's coming off a little 4-day hiatus for him. So even more of a little bit of a surprise and good news that he's back. Yeah,
we were earmarking. I mean, like we were always honest, and it was very fluid. But he's making progress. So we knew, reading the tea leaves, it was going to be pretty close to this, and then he sent me a text. I talked to him, and he sent me a text, and we had some conversation over in Colorado about today being likely, and then yesterday he checked the final box in his mental and physical world, and here we are.
While we're on the Manny topic, he and Bryce Harper, you've had a chance to see both of their careers develop. Can you make any comparisons between what they've been able to accomplish in their careers and the impact that they've had?
I don't know all the specifics of it, but following both of them, and of course Manny's more closely recently, and competing against Bryce for years, and just really eerie, right? I mean, free agency, and very similar in the contracts, the lengths of contracts, and paternity leaves. Just two really generational talents that have been able to have tremendous careers and still have bright futures.
Along with the activation of Manny, another roster move today, bringing in Jeremiah Estrada. What can you tell us about that move?
He's throwing the ball really, really well. I mean, a great spring for many of us that were following, and did a great job. And with Vasquez is the move, and he'll go back to AAA and feel good about some of the steps that he's taken, and more importantly, the plan. Vasquez is going to pitch well for us for a long time. He's just still in that developmental process of being a starter. But Estrada's throwing the ball exceptionally well in AAA. Piggyback on what he did for us in spring training, he brings a power arm with a really elite fastball metrically. And, he's in a good spot, and we're looking forward to seeing him pitch.
Mike, with Manny at third base again, what might his schedule look like day to day as far as playing third versus DHing, at least early on here?
I think it'll be fluid as well. I mean, clearly he's going to play tonight. Tomorrow, rightfully, if you think about a spring training ramp up, which he really hasn't had as much of. He's had a hybrid of it because he's been able to play in the DH role and get his spikes in the dirt for about a month. So he's got his legs under him in that regard, but now going to play in defense is added on, obviously, and of course the recovery factor. So, you're probably looking at maybe a DH tomorrow, and then an evaluation beyond that, and it'll just stay fluid from there.
Is Brito taking the Vasquez spot in the rotation, or has maybe Darvish got a chance to get back for that?
It lines up as a possibility, but everything you said is on the table, and it's the proverbial TBD.
How much does having Manny back at third help you, aside from like obviously what he does at third, just in terms of maybe some flexibility in that DH spot?
Yeah, so I talked to Wadey a little bit earlier. I'm going to grab Rosie. I hadn't been having a chance to have that conversation with him. First of all, I thought that platoon system worked really well. I mean, we got a lot of production out of those guys, defensively, offensively, on the bases. Those guys were huge in helping us contribute to win baseball games. So applaud them, but now it does change. I mean, we talk about the use. I mean, Manny will slide maybe back in the DH spot tomorrow, so it kind of goes back to it. So we're not away from that scenario where guys are going and moving and shaking with each other. But it also frees up Wadey to move around the infield and become more of a utility guy, and of course Rosie as well, to be able to do some different things that he hadn't been doing relative to before Manny was playing third base.
What kind of work was he doing on paternity leave? It seemed like he must have been doing something to come right back and be right on.
Yeah, he came over Wednesday and yesterday and got work in here at the ballpark.
That was Padres manager Mike Schilt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. Again, we'll have more from Mike Schilt coming up a little bit later. Injury updates on Jackson Merrill, who's not in the lineup once again here today, and an update on Yu Darvish, but plenty of good stuff there from Mike Schilt on the return of Manny Machado, Jeremiah Estrada being added to the active roster, and much more. And of course, we'll hear more from Mike Schilt on our post-game show after this one is over later tonight. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40. Now let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with the hot category. Luis Campusano for the Padres in that category, 9 for his last 27. That's a .333 batting average in an 8-game span. Manny Machado batting .326 with a couple of home runs in his last 11 games before going on the paternity list. Xander Bogaerts, his last 6 games. Yeah, we're going to put Xander in the hot category. 9 for 26, a double, a homer, and 4 RBIs. Xander's batting average is up 37 points in those 6 games to .227, so still far lower than where you'd want it to be, but Xander's playing better, hitting the ball better as of late. For the Phillies, a couple of guys in that hot category, really 3 guys in that hot category. Bryce Harper, a 7-game hit streak. He's batting .416 with a .500 on-base percentage in that span, 2 home runs and 9 RBIs during the streak. Alec Boehm is 17 for 34 in his last 9 games, batting .500 in those 9 games with 7 doubles, 2 home runs, and 11 RBIs. And also in the hot category for Philadelphia, Trey Turner batting .417 in his last 11 games with 6 doubles, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs in that span. In the not category, we focus on one key guy in the Philly lineup. That's Nick Castellanos, who is just 3 for his last 17 in the last 4 games. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. When we come back at our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll get the injury updates on Jackson Merrill and Yu Darvish. Plus, we hear from Manny Machado back at third base, back with the Padres here today. We'll also hear from new reliever Jeremiah Estrada. First pitch coming up at 6:40. I'm Sam Levitt on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey guys, it is
Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected. EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, Game 1 of this three-game series between the Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll hear from Manny Machado back at third base off the paternity list here today. We'll hear from Manny. We'll also hear from Jeremiah Estrada, added to the Padres bullpen earlier today from AAA El Paso. In just a little while, we'll also hear my keys to the game. And if you have a key to the game, you can tweet it at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Same handle there. And once again, we are on YouTube from Petco Park right now, inside the lofts at the Western Metal Building. So for those of you viewing today's pregame coverage on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, all the various video streaming platforms, we thank you for tuning in. First time we're doing it here from the setup inside the Western Metal Building, and you too can comment with your key to the game. May just read your comment on the air. Let's get some injury updates from Mike Schilt.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at BadaFulkerson.com.
A few different pieces of audio to get to here. So first, here was Mike Schilt earlier today, the update on Jackson Merrill, who again was scratched late yesterday before the game due to right groin tightness. Here was Mike Schilt on Merrill.
Jackson's in a really, really good place. And we're going to continue to be mindful of, the fact it's early in the year and just want to make sure with the lower half extremity that he's going to be okay. So he's going to move around today. He feels great. I'm so happy that he's, kind of pounding the table to be in there, which is great. I love the fact that it looks like we're getting this behind us, but I want to make sure it's behind us because I don't want to look up and do something that's not smart and prudent and have the guy out that's a big part of our club for any extended period of time. So we'll see what's availability today, but he's coming in and it's trending upward.
So that was Mike Schilt earlier today, the update on Jackson Merrill. Here was Mike with a little bit more on Jackson.
It's something that he had treatment on for a couple of days, and yesterday before the game, when he started feeling it in his swing, just was like, nah, it doesn't taste great. Let's get ahead of it, which we feel like we have.
He seemed a bit irritated today. Was he trying to talk his way into the lineup?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's just like on a pitcher, I don't give me a guy that wants to be on the field and wants to compete. I'll deal with all the fallout from that every day. So love the guy who wants to compete, and we had a discussion about it. He gets the reasoning behind it, and we'll see about his availability during the course of the game.
So those were the updates on Jackson Merrill, and again, we'll see if Jackson is available off the bench here today. Let's also get the update from Mike Schilt. Here was Mike's update on Yu Darvish.
Yeah, he threw a bullpen 2 days ago. All reports were positive. Everything's starting to get back to normal for you. And now we're just making the determination of what's next.
So that was the update on Yu Darvish as well. Again, Yu is eligible to come off the IL on Tuesday, as we heard earlier from Mike Schilt. Still sounds like the Padres are putting together their plans for Tuesday if Yu will come off, and if not, who will start Tuesday's game later this homestand. So those were the injury updates for both Jackson Merrill and Yu Darvish from earlier today. Now let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues today. We have one final already. Royals beat the Tigers 8-0 in Detroit earlier today. We've got a number of games going on right now. Orioles ahead of the A's, 2-1 in Baltimore in the 8th inning. Dodgers ahead of the Blue Jays, 11-1 in Toronto in the 7th inning. Cubs ahead of the Red Sox, 7-1 in Boston in the 7th inning. Cardinals ahead of the Mets in New York, 4-2, 7th inning there. Nationals 3, Marlins 1 in Miami in the 8th. Braves leading the Guardians 5-1 in the 7th inning in Atlanta. White Sox ahead of the Rays 2-0 in Chicago in the 6th inning. Reds and the Rangers tied at 1 in the 5th inning in Arlington. Brewers ahead of the Yankees 4-2 in Milwaukee in the 4th inning. Games still to come a little bit later on today. Twins and the Angels in Anaheim at 6:38. Diamondbacks and the Mariners at 6:40 in Seattle. And finally, the Pirates and the Giants in San Francisco at 7:15. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday across the major leagues. Well, again, the main headline from today, Manny Machado, both back in the lineup and playing third base for the first time in 2024. It's been a big week for Manny. Manny and his wife, Yane, welcomed their first child earlier this week, and Manny coming off the paternity list today. Here was Manny Machado inside the Padres clubhouse today talking about becoming a dad.
Manny, congratulations. How's it feel to be a father?
Feels good. Excited. Everyone's home, safe and healthy. So just excited to get back, with my second family.
Yeah, first and foremost, how are mommy and baby doing? Everybody okay?
They're good. Everyone's good.
Do you have any stats for us? You got a name and
No, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that, between us and the family. But he's healthy and he's good. So we're excited, and she's definitely excited for me to get back out here and continue to play.
You can think about it as much as you want and plan for it, but the first time that you hear your son's little cry or you got a chance to hold him, what was that special moment like?
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it's obviously it's a unique experience. So blessed to be a part of it and enjoy it, and just looking forward to seeing him grow.
You got a baseball in his hand yet?
Not yet. A lot of bottles, milk.
Very, very cool for Manny Machado. Certainly a big congratulations to Manny and his wife Yane on the birth of their first child. And I'll get into this a little bit later. We'll see if Manny has some dad strength here today. Maybe a home run for the new baby. Obviously a big day for Manny for that reason, but also he's back at third base for the first time in 2024. Here was Manny on getting back to third base for the first time this season after the elbow surgery from last October, and much more.
I'm excited. Excited. I mean, first off, excited just to be back and play and, play defense finally. So we'll see how it goes, and just looking forward to it.
What are you going to be looking for with your arm in terms of how it's feeling out there?
In what sense? What do you mean?
Like in terms of if it's doing all right, or if is it just a pain thing? Or
yeah, I mean, it's doing all right now. I mean, obviously that's why I'm back out there, but just play ear. Play by ear. I mean, obviously. We got to build up to playing the games. I think as much as we can throw, as much as I could throw across the diamond pregame, I don't think there's nothing that can simulate a game. So I think that's just going to be the next hurdle we're going to jump. But just getting back out there is going to be exciting, and we'll see how I feel tomorrow. I'll see how I recover tomorrow, and then I think that'll give us a good indication of where I'm at.
How much do you think you'll enjoy being at third base, given that you spent so much time at DH?
I mean, listen. I mean, playing baseball, it's what I love, and stepping out to that baseball field, it's an enjoyment every single night. Obviously, not being able to play the field always is devastating. I love playing defense, but I'm excited. I'm excited to get back out there. I think it's something that I missed for sure, and. But I just miss playing baseball.
Did you grow to like any part of DHing?
I love it. I mean, when you put on a uniform, it's good. It's great. It's first couple of days. I mean, obviously it was an adjustment last year. Then I came this year. Was the same thing. You kind of got to get back into that flow. It's about a flow. It's kind of like just a rhythm, and and just get over the fact of stop thinking about your swing so much. Sometimes you just think about it too much, and you go in between innings and you're thinking about your swing, and let's just go play baseball. And but you finally get a habit of that. But I mean, there's nothing that can replace just playing baseball overall.
Tough loss for the boys yesterday. How much do you think it is an emotional boost for them to come into the clubhouse today, see your name there, see the captain back over at third base? I
mean, it was definitely a devastating loss. We split the series there, but I mean, obviously. Being back here, I'm a big part of the team, and a big presence. So I'm excited to be back. And I know they held down the fort really well, and they fought their butts off, all week, and held it down, while I'm not there. So It just tells you how much this team really, how we can win in so many different ways, and the composure that we have, and the type of team we are. So it's excited to slowly but surely getting the band back together, and ready to go out there and perform.
How has the throwing been lately? Like, how much better is your feel now?
Yeah, it's way better. It's way better. That's why I'm out there, buddy. That's why I'm out there. I wouldn't be out there if I wasn't ready. It's been feeling a lot better, and obviously there's one thing between being early, 3 o'clock ground balls, and when you step out there and you gotta, stand for 2.5 hours and get hot and cold and throw, and throw in between innings, maybe not even throw a ball all day. So that's just another hurdle we're gonna step, but we're ready for it.
Not that you should have watched a second of that series in Colorado, but
I watched every second.
Did you?
Every second. Missed a couple. I'm not gonna lie. I missed a couple seconds. There was some priorities intact, but I saw. I didn't see the beginning of that 8th inning yesterday that we lost, but I saw it towards the end. But yeah, I watched every single bit of it.
Very nice. Okay, yeah,
But
was fun.
there's different priorities.
Yeah,
There's different priorities. No, we're all watching. She was the first one who was like, "Hey, move this iPad over here. Let's go. I need to watch this too." So, that's just who we are.
That was Manny Machado inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Manny back in the lineup off the paternity list here today, playing third base for the first time here in 2024. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Let me give you now our keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, the first inning. Both these teams have been productive offensively in the first innings of games this season. In fact, they're both among the most productive lineups in the first inning. Padres are batting .301 in the first this year. That ranks 6th in the major leagues. The Phillies are batting .306 in the first inning this season. That ranks 3rd in the major leagues. Padres averaging more than a run per first inning. Phillies averaging just under a run per first inning. But both teams are in the top 3 as far as runs scored in the first inning among major league teams. Both are in the top 5 in terms of OPS in the first inning. My point being, with all these numbers, these are actually two teams that have put up some really good numbers for the most part in the first inning. Padres have inflated that number a little bit with some big innings in the first, but the Padres have done that pretty nicely throughout the season. Who dominates the first inning, both here tonight and in this series? Do we see a lot of offense in the first inning? That's key number 1. Key number 2 for the Padres, a marvelous Musgrove. Joe Musgrove was solid his last time out, 7 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits given up. Musgrove is trying to get into that consistent rhythm that we saw for a couple of months last year. And we know when Joe is at his best, he's somebody who spins the baseball with the best of them. Consider this. In his last start against the Blue Jays, opposing hitters were 0 for 11 with a couple of strikeouts against Joe on his breaking balls, the slider and the curve. Batters are hitting just .204 against his breaking balls so far this season. If Musgrove can continue to make those breaking pitches really, really effective, we may see Joe settle into that rhythm we've seen before. Getting a good outing from Joe today, certainly a big key. Key number 3, get to Aaron Nola, or at least make him work. Last 4 starts for Nola have been really, really good. A 1.67 ERA in 27 total innings. It's continued what's been a great run for the Phillies starting pitching staff. Phillies starting pitching is 7-1 with a 0.82 ERA in the last 10 games. Phillies have won 8 of those 10 games. Phillies have also won each of Nola's last 4 starts. So can the Padres get to Aaron Nola, or at least get into that Phillies bullpen pretty quickly here tonight? That's key number 3. And that's a look at our keys to the game. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game, and we have a full breakdown of a veteran pitching matchup between Joe Musgrove and Aaron Nola. First pitch coming up at 6:40 here at Petco Park. This is the Padres Radio Network.
what's your name? Antoinette. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Well, have fun tonight. Thank you for saying hello.
Hey, Frank. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, series opener between the Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll get to our starting pitching matchup in just a moment. First, a quick shout out to Chef Phil here at Petco Park, who brought me some Gaglione Brothers Philly cheesesteaks and garlic fries here. Check this out if you're watching on the YouTube stream. Hopefully I can, I gotta let you see the cheesesteak. Look at that. Oh, it looks delicious. The garlic fries. Big thank you to Chef Phil for bringing this up. This is just wonderful. And the Phillies in town. I love it. Philly cheesesteaks and garlic fries from Gaglione Brothers here at Petco Park. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for here tonight? Do we see some dad strength tonight? Manny Machado and his wife Yane welcomed their first child earlier this week. Manny is back in the lineup today and playing third base. Bryce Harper returned from the paternity list yesterday and hit a home run in the Phillies win against the Reds. Harper and his wife Kayla welcomed the couple's third child this week. Do we see some more dad strength from Harper today? We certainly would love to see some from Manny. And beyond the dad part of it, these are two of the biggest stars in baseball that we have. They've always been closely linked, both in the 2010 draft. Harper the first pick, Manny the third pick. Both became free agents in the same offseason, both on Hall of Fame trajectories. Always fun to see these guys play against one another. Do we see some dad strength from these guys tonight? That's what to watch for in today's game. Now let's dive into our pitching matchup between Joe Musgrove and Aaron Nola.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Joe Musgrove, 3-2, a 5.74 ERA in 6 starts so far this year. Last start Sunday against the Blue Jays, he went 7 innings, 3 earned runs given up. Start prior in Milwaukee was solid, 6 innings, 3 earned runs allowed. 5 regular season outings against the Phillies, a 3 ERA in 27 innings. 1 postseason start against them in the 2022 NLCS, he went 5 2/3 innings and 4 earned runs given up. Right-hander Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies here today, 3-1, a 3.16 ERA in 5 starts. Last start Sunday against the White Sox, he was really good. 8 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 home run allowed. Last 4 starts for Nola have been really good, a 1.67 ERA in 27 innings. That's after his first start of the season against the Braves was a rough one. He allowed 7 runs in 4+ innings. 8 career regular season starts against the Padres, a 3.11 ERA in those starts. And the last time that Nola faced the Padres was in that 2022 NLCS Game 2 here at Petco Park. Gave up 6 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup here today between Joe Musgrove and Aaron Nola. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. Matt Scraby will have your post-game show for you later on tonight. You're listening to the Padres Radio Network.